Now, all of us understand and agree that we have to keep learning, unlearning, and relearning. I don't have to emphasize the importance of that. We all agree. Now the question is, as the L&D function, how do we make it happen? What role we can play? What role the organization can play? So, as an L&D function, we can create a host of learning solutions. But the fact of the matter is, do we bring people to the organization who have the right learnability, learning ability, learning agility? Do they have the desire to learn, unlearn, and relearn? I think all of you know about fixed mindset and growth mindset. So lifelong learning is all about growth mindset. It's about, well, nothing can get worse than this. Things can get better. I can make a change. I can take the responsibility of making a change. So as an organization, if you don't attract people who have got learning agility, no matter what we do later on, downstream, I'm not sure how effective that's going to be. So right at the beginning, we'll have to make sure that we attract people with growth mindset into the organization. But what happens if we bring people with learning agility and growth mindset to the organization, but if you don't have the right ecosystem? As an organization, if you don't encourage experimentation, if you don't encourage risk-taking, if you don't reward people for challenging the status quo, if you penalize people for experimenting and making mistakes, then we might bring in the best talent, but we will lose them after some time. They will not stay on. So I think the second important aspect after attracting the right talent is building the right ecosystem, where we have leadership buy-in. We have an organization which challenges the status quo. We encourage people to experiment, to try, to make mistakes, to fail, and so on, and to learn quickly from that. So the right ecosystem, the right leadership sponsorship, and the right culture is the second important aspect when it comes to lifelong learning. Now the third thing is what we need to do as the L&D function. What kind of solutions that we develop which facilitates, which promotes lifelong learning, which enables people to keep learning, unlearning, and relearning all the time. So I think research has proved that people learn only when they want to learn. If they don't want to learn, we can't force them, we can't make them learn. So we need to get the right people who want to learn, but at the same time, we'll have to create the right learning solutions, which is so interesting, exciting, and engaging that people have no option but to want to learn. They fall in love with learning. So that's what we need to do as a learning organization, as the L&D function. So I think, in summary, in a nutshell, I would like to say, attract people who want to learn, and make your learning so engaging and interesting and inspiring that people want to learn. That's what I can say at this point in time. Thank you.
Thanks, Surya. The individual's mindset and an enabling ecosystem is what I pick up primarily from what you said. We'll discuss more about it as we go. So, can I hear your perspectives as you introduce yourself?
My name is Adil. For the last over 2 decades, I've been practicing HR. So my sleeves rolled up. I'm a practice now. I don't claim to be an L&D guy or L&D expert. Worked with companies like Tesco, Just Dial, Fidelity before joining my current organization, which is magicbricks.com. This popularly belongs to a group called Times of India. Yeah. In my current role, I'm accountable for driving the entire people agenda, starting with how do we attract, how do we retain, how do we develop their overall competencies. Besides, of course, the structures, organization culture, and other key strategic HR agenda. What lifelong learning means to me, purely from that standpoint, let me take you through my story. 7-8 years back, I thought of jotting down a few points. What do I want to do before I die? Yeah. My physiological age right now is 45. Mental age, I tend to believe, is more than that. 3 things I wish to do before I die. Number 1, to make a hardcore Bollywood movie. Number 2, get into organic farming. Number 3, probably take care of education of underprivileged children, at least 20. Yeah? In the entire scheme of thing, then further I have cascaded, okay, I want to get into movie making, what do I need to do next? Daydreaming will not help me. Thought of taking a break and got into Whistling Woods, that is popularly called Subhas Ghai Institute, in Mumbai, got into script writing, the course. They call it screenwriting course for 3 months. Okay? Then, probably in taking care of underprivileged education of those kids, what do we do? Join hands with few like-minded people, pulled in some money, thought of registering one agency, specifically tiny agency in a place called the outskirts of Andhra and Orissa border. Now, the long story cut short, to me lifelong learning is all about doing something voluntarily, which is ongoing, and this is only possible when you are self-motivated. Surya has already touched this point. You cannot force people. So to me, lifelong learning is not about forcing somebody. There should not be any kind of a push. The pull is it voluntary? Am I seeing some sort of a benefit there for my social, for my personal, for my professional benefit? If yes, to me, that is what lifelong learning is all about.
Thanks, Anil. So, net, while you claim that your mental age will be older, I think it's the childlike excitement and enthusiasm is what makes the difference for lifelong learning. I think we saw a slide which spoke about the minute you stop learning, you no more live. Einstein's quote was it? Yes, that's what I think it's all about. So the way I would look at it is that we spoke about how learning begins at the time we are conceived in the womb of the mother. And for us, as L&D professionals, I think our ability to relate to our environment, relate to history, relate to mythology, or more importantly as Indians, we love stories. I always relate to what, are we already 40 minutes up? It disturbs the thought. And that's the challenge of today's world. We're so short of time for everything. So I think Abhimanyu's conception, birth, and his ability to break the Chakravyuha is a good example of how you can reach life to the top or to its peak, and the minute you stop learning, you're killed. So that's the spirit we need to go in terms of learning. But having said all of that, I think before we get into what business wants, what everybody else needs to be doing, as L&D professional, how is it I need to be treated differently? So therefore, have I developed mastery? Do I have a context? Am I the expert who people will turn to when it's required? I was recently reading that white paper of ATD which talks about future of work. It is a great place in terms of what is it we as L&D professionals need to be doing, so that not only do we preach to the others, are we actually looking at ourselves in terms of equipping ourselves, so that we also become students of lifelong learning. And that paper has some very good insights on changes in the workforce, how today's jobs will not exist. I saw by 2022, some 47% of jobs will vanish and things like that. And actually, in the last 1 year, in the US itself, 1.37 million jobs were lost. And then, but the good news is 2.5 million jobs in data security itself got generated. So the question is, as L&D professionals, are we even aware of what's happening around us? What is it I'm going to do to equip myself first, so that I'm the person who people will turn to when it requires in terms of providing, enabling, or getting a seat on the table? I think these are things which we need to factor on. For me, the way I would look at it is, first, we should look at in terms of are we doing enough and more internal reviews, discussions of the future of work, the expectations in terms of changes in industry. What is it we need to look at the new skills that are coming into place? Soft skills, how do we retain and engage people are things which we need to be looking at. And only then we can talk about what the rest of the world can do in terms of being students of lifelong learning. I'll not keep talking a lot. I'll ask Srinivas from Biocon. In terms of, you've been in sales, you've seen multiple roles. So what is it that needs to be done differently to ensure that people are in cutting edge in terms of lifelong learning? I've heard 3 bells already, so we need to be fast.
Yeah.
And that timekeeper is not okay.
Every salesperson has different challenge on regular basis. When their customer changes, when the product they're selling changes, when they go to a different market, every day, every moment, the situation changes. I think my friend Rishi is around. Okay, he agrees with this. So he is also with any other salesperson. So to help or to facilitate learning on the go, we have multiple interventions in Biocon. I think quickly I will simulate. When they join newly, we have BioStart. When they have to have an edge over competition, we have something called BioEdge, which is a fortnightly one. When they have, when we have cycle meets, we have social learning for them. We have situational learning for them. How do you handle different customers? When they have a new product selling, then we have another orientation to them. When they become managers, we also have a program, Raghu, by name LEAP. I think we are neighbors, so maybe the same idea is seated there. LEAP is a managerial intervention, which is 1.5 years now. It's been on, and tremendous results. So at every stage of life of salesperson, at every state, there is something which L&D provides. And where do we source this is from them only. So we go on field work, and my colleagues get those cases back that this is the difficulty and this is probably the solution. So we take their inputs and feedback and throw back at themselves. So I think at this point of time I would like to share these, considering the timelines.
Dr. Madan, what do you do in your organization? Foster lifelong learning.
Yeah, I'm worried because this is a waste platform. So sometimes they have these trapdoors. So if the bell doesn't work, sometimes they may pull the trapdoor. So we've got to be careful. Okay, so let me just quickly give you just one thought. I think my CFO keeps telling me that we got to measure what is called as a scrap learning. So I have this constant fight with my CFO. You know what is scrap learning? Learning that is not relevant to the workplace, right? So if a person is a developer and if he or she wants to learn photography, that is called scrap learning, right? So when we signed up with Lynda.com about 3-4 years back, what was the topmost learning that was taken? It was exactly photography, right? So my CFO came after me. He said, look, you made me spend so much money. You've got to do something. You've got to put a gate and make sure that. So I said, look, I'm a guy who took my PhD at the age of 54. In servant leadership, and now the organization is benefiting because it was my passion, and because somebody allowed me to pursue my passion, the organization is able to this thing. So be patient, right? Luckily for me, I could keep my job because after about 3 months, the photography went to rank number 23, and AngularJS and all those hot nice sexy technologies came up on top. So it was that way it was good. So my point is this. I think if we have to develop a culture of lifelong learning in the organization, we must allow people to make learning a habit, even if it means scrap learning, right? Even if they want to learn about pottery or photography or gardening or whatever, or cookery or whatever it is, let them do it. But if we allow them to do that, they will come back and learn that is that.
Or a purpose, and I need to follow their interests.
It will, yeah. So that's my simple advice.
Thanks, Surya. What do you do in terms of design principles for lifelong learning?
Yes, so we have understood one thing is that today lifelong learning is about the learner. It's not about the trainer, the instructor, the facilitator. So it's about the employee saying, what about me? What is in it for me? What platform I'm going to use? What tool I'm going to use? Where can I get the information? Who is the subject matter expert to talk to? Who can I collaborate with? What technologies I'm going to use? What should I learn so that I enhance and augment my career prospects? So it's all about me. So we have understood that most important philosophy is the user experience. That has to be the fundamental design principle, the user experience. And that's what exactly we're doing. We have picked up 4 tenets of this design, and we have taken this as 4 extremely important design principles for lifelong learning. One is social. Social is important because it gives opportunity to people to collaborate, reach out, work with each other, and learn in the process. Formal, we cannot take away, no matter how much of digital that we bring in. Formal education, formal learning cannot be taken away. We still need to bring structure, relevant, and immediate. So whatever we do has to be relevant for the audience, for them, for the job, for the career, for the future, for building capability in the organization. It has to be relevant, it has to be immediate. It has to be available on the go, wherever they are, on demand. So these are the fundamental tenets that we use, fundamental design principles that we use to make lifelong learning a habit with our people. Thank you.
Basic, simple, and profound. What about you? You work in all new age companies. So how is it different there?
See, in the culture transformation journey, there are 3 things that fundamentally matters. Number 1, whether people are aware of our offerings. If yes, are they aware? And then do they internalize? If they have internalized, third thing is, are they implementing that? Are they living those values? In the entire culture transformation journey, what we thought is the best way to actually drive this behavior is tied to your performance management system. Yeah? From a function-specific KRA or KPI, how can we make it much more holistic? In that scheme of things, we all know the balanced scorecard, Dr. Norton and Dr. Kaplan's model, that we have fine-tuned and we call it right now steering wheel. Now, what it means is all people managers, irrespective of rank and file and function, everybody would have 70% of their KRA around rest of those balanced scorecard aspects, but the 5th one, which would be 30% weightage, would be around what are my KRAs and to what extent I'm learning. Yeah? And of course, it has to be linked to it has to be relevant, as Surya said. Unfortunately, that scrap model, I wish, we could do that. But, from culture standpoint, at least, driving this for all people managers, having a specific learning agenda, that helps in bringing the desired behavior. And in long run, builds a culture.
Thank you. Can I request the audience, anyone to add or share or ask a few questions? Because all of us are learning professionals in this room. So your perspectives or questions which you would like to ask us, which the group will benefit. Any questions? Mic here to the gentleman in the front, please.
Okay, one point that I was trying to probably put up a lot is everybody in this, for most of them are L&D professionals in the L&D this thing. So my take at it is, why is it that we consider only this bunch of people who are responsible for the learning and development of an organization? Every employee, starting from a fresher to the senior-most person, they're all part of L&D. So the moment that mindset changes from the top, that every individual is part of this L&D. It is not that it's 4 or 5 or 6 or 10, 20 trainers are the ones who are in L&D. Unless every individual is made to sensitize that you are an L&D person, it doesn't happen. And like lifelong learning, every employee, if he is in that learning mode, only then the lifelong learning can come up. I thought I'll just share this thought and maybe this is what I thought about.
Yeah, I think great question. But that's why we are called L&D. We are not called training anymore. We used to be called training function, because we took pride in the fact that we are trainers, we provide training people. Now we are the learning function. We enable people, we facilitate learning, we are facilitators, we are not accountable, we are not responsible. I think every individual, every function, right from the CEO of the organization to the employee in the last mile, everybody is responsible.
Anybody else? Yeah.
So this whole push-pull model, right? And it's not easy to focus on learner-centric, and we keep talking about it. One needs to be clearly learner-centric, and there's a lot of focus there. But still, as L&D professionals, we constantly have a lot of cancellations, people don't turn up, they prioritize work, and then it becomes a push model, and then we say, okay, certain programs are mandatory. So that's our major challenge at times. People don't understand the importance of learning.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's why we have to keep reinventing all the time. You know, as Raghavendra was talking about, biggest challenge today is time. Even if the employees of the workforce or people have a desire to learn, they don't have the time to learn. So we really have to really figure out how we can become, how we can reinvent the wheel. So all these actions that have taken place in terms of making training more micro learning based, bite size, etc., are steps in that direction. But they are not new. They have been there for quite some time. Now I think one of the panelists in the previous panel talked about taking learning to the workplace, right to the place where the work is happening. So if you ask the employee to click on something outside the work, outside the platform that he or she is working on, most likely he or she will not take up that opportunity. So you'll have to bring learning right inside the work. I think that's the biggest challenge that we have, and we'll have to really keep thinking how we can make that happen. It has already started happening.
Also, the market is pushing us, or pushing the employees to be pull, so that the changes impact their jobs, and if they have to live and grow, they will have to learn.
Absolutely. I think involve them right up front. See, while as L&D professionals, we need to be qualified, people look up to us in terms of bringing the conceptual knowledge. Getting the context is important. So the minute we involve them, show them the big picture, they become a lot more active. Like what I spoke this morning, when the ILE program was launched, we had about a 40-45% adoption. And then you bring in the push factor by linking it to increments, linking it to progressions. And today, after all of that, we see a 98% acceptance. And today the people are asking, what else can get added? Because now they have a stake in terms of that learning requirement. So involve them right up front. While equip yourself to bring in the professional context, which as L&D professionals we need to be current and look into the future. That's the way it is. I think we'll pause and stop here, because I think our panel had the shortest time, but 9 bells, I counted 9 bells. It's absolutely unprofessional. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I think we had a good time to skim and give a flavor of what it means, what it would be in terms of students lifelong, especially in the changing world of what technology, geopolitical scene that is there. I think we need to bring in a pull factor in the entire L&D journey. Thank you for being a wonderful audience, and thank the panelists.